Let's take a look at the top 4 best TH12 CWL attacks that you can use for 3 stars, and we're going to explain all of them. What's going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt. At the number 4 spot is the Zap Witches. Now, this is an incredibly easy and very simple attack that you're going to be able to take along during the Clan War Leagues. So what are you looking for? You're always going to be looking for a couple main defenses. Inferno Towers for one, because you're going to use the lightning spells to get rid of them. If you see a single Inferno, you can always go ahead and use the Witch Spam to really take it over, or if it's set to multi, then it's going to be a threat. So you don't need to worry about it if it's a single. If you're seeing all single Infernos, however, it's a better choice to go ahead and use an IC5 with the Ice Golems, Bowlers, Witches, and Bat spells. Now, other defenses that you need to be very aware of is the Giga Tesla and the Eagle Artillery. Those are going to be 2 of the other main defenses that you want to take into consideration. Now, when you're doing this, you want to first start by using the lightning spells to get rid of a particular area. You mainly want to try and go in for as many defenses, anything like Wizard Towers, like weakening up Expos, Archer Towers, or even getting rid of an entire compartment, you can honestly do. Now, once you've gotten that done, you want to go in towards the Eagle Artillery. So to start off, you want to use Golems on defenses that could be on the outside or close to it in order for you to tank for your Bowlers and your Witches, as you're going to be kind of sending them in a line. You may have also noticed that there are low-level heroes. So if you were asking, does this work with lower-level heroes? You can still do this with fairly new level, Town Hall 12 level heroes. So you want to be able to really do that. And you also want to preserve the log launcher's health if you're going to be using it. So you want to be able to open up as many of the walls as you can. You can use the rage spells to provide more support, or you can save it for whatever's in that log launcher, like an Ice Golem and P.E.K.K.A, or even Yetis in there. You want to make sure, though, that you're able to move everything through. In this case, it looks like they had an Ice Golem and a P.E.K.K.A. So when you're being able to easily move through, you want to be able to get through a larger chunk of the base. You may have a poison spell, and that might be a very good idea to bring. If you have some Bowlers going into the core, it would be a good idea to bring that. And as you're kind of moving through, you can have the King ability go off so you can take care of the Town Hall if it is something that you haven't gotten rid of yet, like you see here. Being able to get through while having a couple Witches also providing some support is exactly what you need. Now, most of the time, though, you want to be able to have Witches going in on all fronts. Unfortunately, here, he lost a lot of those Witches, and he doesn't really have many going through here, and he only has the ones going on the right side. So he really needs to be able to get through while using the Ice Golem, Golem, Queen, and Warden to get through this bottommost side. But it's fairly simple, being able to easily move through. This could have been a fail, but it was entirely a triple. It just really depends upon the base design, like in this case here, this was a max base, versus lower level heroes. So you can do this with higher level heroes or even lower level heroes like this, but you want to be able to easily get through the base, and you want to be able to make sure that your Witches, you're keeping a lot of your Witches alive, and the same thing with your Bowlers. Next up in the number 3 spot, Super Witches. This is an incredibly overpowered attack, and it really starts to ramp up. It is better than Witches in my personal opinion. There's a lot to do in this army. What you're able to do is you can use a Warden Walk in order to create the funnel. You can always go ahead and maybe switch that up with a Queen Walk with the Warden going in with the Queen. And then what you can do is you can bring lightning spells to get rid of something like an Inferno Tower that could be a big nuance, or if you want to speed up your Warden. You have a lot of options if you're going to be using the Super Witches. Now, you just want to look, though, as far as the base is concerned, you want to be able to make sure that you're able to get all the way across. So if there are segments that are open, kind of like this area of the base here, you can then take advantage of that by making sure that you're able to start working through, and also using the double jump to get all the way across the base for your Super Witches. So you want to start with the Warden Walk. Creating the funnel is entirely important. So you want to be able to make sure that you're able to lure the Warden to go this direction with either the Queen or the Super Witches. Commonly, you're going to be using the Super Witches in order to do that. but you can also rage up your Grand Warden to speed up a funnel, which is exactly what you want to try and do, especially if you're going in for something like the Eagle Artillery. But here in this case, doesn't really go in for that. So you want to create the funnel on the opposite side as you're creating the funnel for the Super Witches with the Warden Walk or Queen Walk. That way what you're able to do is cut this area off and make sure that most of the Super Witches start working themselves through the base. Now, using the Siege Barrack to provide more support while having some of the wizards is incredibly important, and you want to be able to start using your rage spells and also maybe even using your Warden Eternal Tome as you get into an area of high DPS. So you want to be able to make sure though that you're getting through the Town Hall, and the big boys, and maybe if you have a P.E.K.K.A. from the Siege Barrack, can absolutely eat that up. So as you're moving through though, you want to use that double jump to get access to almost everything in the base. You can see from here how he has all of his Super Witches still alive, and the trick is keeping the healers on them. So you want the healers to switch from the heroes to the Super Witches. And that way what you're able to do is continue to power across the base. They absolutely destroy anything as long as they have healers or as long as there's a tank in front of them. And you can see how they're going to be going in for that multi-inferno and absolutely shredding it. And it's exactly what you want to try and do. Of course, there are a bunch of different variations. If you want to add bat spells, you can do that. But this Smash version of the Super Witches is an incredibly easy and really, really strong version. You can even bring a Yeti in the clan castle if you don't want to bring Hog Riders, which Hog Riders I would recommend, but if you want to bring a Yeti or two, that is definitely up to you, and you could easily get more 3 stars with it. Just I would recommend using a Queen Walk if you do not have access to using the Warden Walk just yet. But it gives you an open mindset of using the Super Witches and how to 3-star with them. Next up, in the number 2 spot is the TDH, the Queen Charge Lalo with no haste spells, 4 rage, and 4 freeze spells. How can you use this effectively? Well, you want to mainly keep in mind to get rid of the enemy queen and the enemy clan castle troops. And you can do this in a couple different ways. You can bring a battle blimp to take care of it, and there are a bunch of other Lalo attacks, but this one absolutely takes the cake. So what you want to start off with using, if you see that the Town Hall is fairly close to the outside, like in this case here, you can always go ahead and use a battle blimp. You can use some Yetis or sneaky goblins in that clan castle in order to get rid of that Town Hall. And it looks like in this case he has some sneaky goblins to absolutely shred through it. The Yeti's going to be able to do some damage and also lure out the clan castle, which is exactly what you want to do. So then all this power now starts in with your Queen Charge. And there's a lot of different things that you need to understand. This is going to help you become a better Queen Charge player. So by really understanding what I'm saying here, you'll be able to get through. So what you want to be able to do is create the funnel, and you can already do that with a couple other smaller troops like sneaky goblins. So you really want to be able to make sure that you're able to easily get through. Now in this case here, he's going to be able to create the funnel while also using the super wall breakers to break into this area of the base. So using the king to create the funnel and making it easier for the queen to start walking in is exactly what he needs. Now, in this case here, if you're going up against the enemy king, it would be a smart move to bring a headhunter, as you're going to be able to easily move through without having to use the queen ability. Unfortunately, in this case here, he has to use that queen ability. It would be better to bring a headhunter if you're able to do so. But you want to be able to make sure that you're able to get through, take care of something like an air defense, and be able to continue to work the queen downwards. That way what you're able to do is get rid of the enemy queen. And before you actually take a look at the Lalo portion, you want to take a look at how the air defenses are placed. So you're going to be sending in the Lalo directly towards the air defense that you want to go into. The Eagle's the main threat, so going in for the Eagle, going from point A to point B is exactly what you want. So while the Lalo kind of funnels over and goes into the base, he has his queen to work over towards the enemy queen. Now remember, when you're doing a Lalo like this, you are bringing in absolutely none of the sort of, haste spells or anything. You may have also noticed he hasn't dropped his Warden. So it's making you a little bit wondering, but he's going to be able to get rid of the Eagle Artillery with very simple ease. He's going to be able to get through the enemy Queen thanks to his long charge in order to get through, and he's able to start moving his way all the way around the base, using the Warden Eternal Tome to protect the balloons from taking any damage from the Inferno Tower, and he's able to overwhelm the rest of the defenses with the Lava Pups, and of course, the Queen and some of the other balloons. That shows how incredibly strong this attack is, and it shows that TDH, despite being an extremely long attack, you are always going to be able to use this as long as you're able to get a huge amount of value from the base. And this is something that I would totally start using in the Clan War Leagues, as it is incredibly strong and really overpowered. At the number 1 spot, none other than the Zap Dragons. This is an incredibly easy attack, and it's one of the most consistent. All that you really need to do is get rid of 2 air defenses like you see here, and you want to take advantage of its funneling capabilities if possible. That way what you're able to do is control where the dragons are going, especially in a base design that has a centralized town hall. You want to be able to get right into the base. But if you want to get rid of other structures around there, then using the Earthquake is a great option. But mainly here, you want to be able to use the Earthquake. It can be first, it can be later on, but you just want to use the Earthquake to kind of get rid of as many structures, but also to kind of weaken them up, and also use the lightning spells to take down the air defense. Then you could already start creating the funnel by using the baby dragon. You want to be able to get rid of both sides, maybe even use a balloon to take care of any leftover defenses, like these cannons here as an example. That way what you're able to do is create a perfect enough funnel in order to start getting everything to move in, especially against a base design kind of like this, where it is a centralized town hall. So you want to be able to create enough of a funnel like the attacker is doing here. And once he has a perfect enough funnel, he can start sending in those dragons. Now, what about using a hero dive? You can use the hero dive to go in for as many structures. You can use a super wall breaker if you want, and that way what you're able to do is get over to other defenses. You really want to be able, though, to use it to create the funnel. Now what you've got is the dragons to start moving in. Usually you want to bring in the Stone Slammer either to help create a little bit of a funnel, or you can use it to go in right behind your dragons. You want to be able to make sure, though, to use those rage spells in order to push them right into the base. And once you get towards the core of it, it would then be time to really go ahead and start using that Warden Eternal Tome. You want to try and protect as many of the dragons and even the Stone Slammer as you can. But also, if you see headhunters like this one, 3 headhunters, you want to take care of them. So that way what you're able to do is continue to move into the base. Using a heal spell is another great option. You want to try and keep everything alive as much as you can. Now the Eagle Artillery is going to be a major threat, and if you can get rid of it like the heroes did in this case, you can absolutely get through the base with no problem. If there is still an Inferno Tower, you may have the Stone Slammer go off in that direction to take care of it. But the main goal here is, though, getting rid of another air defense. If you weren't able to get rid of it with a hero dive, then it would be better to try and make sure that you're able to get your dragons to go through it. Sometimes saving a free spell specifically for that air defense could be a great idea, but it doesn't always need to happen that way. But in this case, he got extremely lucky and was able to pick that off because it only had a sliver of health remaining. But that's really how simple it is. Now, what about if I don't have my Earthquake spells maxed out? Well, you can always go ahead and bring in the use of 3 lightning spells, and that's enough to get rid of 1 air defense. You don't necessarily need to use the Earthquake spells, especially if there are a lot of touching and close buildings that are weak to 3 lightning. But if you don't need to do that, then you don't need to worry about it, and you can easily breeze through without having to really worry so much about missing an air defense. So hopefully that you guys get something away from this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, use code CORRUPT in any Supercell game, and I'll be catching you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.